Hello, end of the semester here. So the first question was, what do you state you hoped to learn from this course? For me, I wanted to learn more about substance abuse and the mental health aspect, um, to be able to, I guess, more effectively help the clients who um, have been through the programs before and just don't they don't seem to be able to keep their sobriety once they get it. So something like that, anything like that, to be able to help them. Let's see here. Now that we're in the course, did you learn what you hoped you would? Yeah, I think so. I think I figured out a few different ways to incorporate uh, what we've learned here in this semester and our other classes too, um, into different treatment styles, um, to be able to reach some of those clients who just don't seem to respond to the traditional methods um, that are used in substance abuse and alcohol treatment facilities. So, um, in that aspect, yeah, I think we did learn some. All right. So discuss three specific ways your understanding of the forms and mechanisms of oppression and discrimination have changed as a result of what you've learned this semester. Um, I guess to begin, how intersectionality really adds layers to the oppression. Not only just race, gender, class, but how different identities actually overlap to create the compounded forms um, of those disadvantages. Um, so, in and of themselves, they might be, although still difficult to overcome, but once you compound two or three, um, a minority group, um, the gender, the sex, the class, socioeconomic, all those compounded just exponentially make things tougher. Um, and how the systemic oppression is virtually embedded in most every institution. Um, from redlining with the housing stuff, the disparities in educational funding and locations. Um, it's kind of called pork spending. When bills get written up, there's always all those other little things thrown in, and that's basically pork spending for the people who have the most clout, the most money, the best lobbyists. They get their communities more stuff. So, um, or the criminal justice system, um, the unequal treatment based on race and income. In our discussion, I actually shared a little story about it and just how having the right lawyer, not so much the best lawyer, but the most well respected lawyer can, I don't want to say neutralize a case, but it sure doesn't hurt, to have a well respected lawyer there, and usually expensive. Um, but when you pay attention, you know, it's easy to see how the laws, the policies, all the norms that have been set up, how they perpetuate inequality and keep those in power. So, and I guess the third thing I'd written down, the internalized oppression can cause marginalized people to sometimes adopt the views or values of the dominant group, which can even then lead to self doubt, silence, or even prejudice when they're within their own community. Um, and the last one here, how will you continue to learn about oppression and discrimination as you move forward in your social work career? For me, it was a real eye opener for me, but along with the studying we have to do in school, but I don't think that I'll ever take anything at face value again. think I've become or do my best to be a better listener, not so much just to hear or to be able to respond quickly, like I have all the answers, but to better understand, whoever's speaking. Um, and I think I'm gonna do my due diligence and research on my own any issue, in particular the issues that we're dealing with, in school, but any issues that I come across, and that I'm not just simply like spoon fed the answers, regardless um, of the narrative of either side of a political issue or a stance on a law or whatever it is. I'm going to do my own due diligence and research it myself and see where I actually fall on which side of any issue. I have learned that for me, I was blissfully unaware of the world around me for the most part. I do have experiences, but especially the parts or the locations that I didn't frequent. I didn't grow up in major metropolitan areas, although we were close, but I was never exposed to things like that. So me putting myself, doing things that are difficult or that takes me out of my comfort zone will help me to gain, a better insight into who I'm helping, why I'm helping them, and why it's important. So for me, that's where I need to be. So that's what I'm gonna do. Thanks.